Caribbean cousin, the case against Mr. and Mrs. Hadid and the government has heated up. The government has just hired these two UK lawyers to represent the government. But the catch-22 is these two UK lawyers does not practice law in Trinidad and Tobago. If I was a lawyer in Trinidad and Tobago, I would be offended. I will be offended. And they have just authorized these two lawyers to practice law in Trinidad and Tobago in order to represent the government. If I was living in Trinidad and Tobago and a taxpayer, I would be pissed at the government because they're taking my tax money to pay these two UK lawyers pounds. Just saying. The case against Mr. and Mrs. Hadid and the government has just heated up. Mr. and Mrs. Hadid, can we see your lawyer? Because they have brought out the big bad UK lawyers, allegedly. Just saying.
First, the thing hot that they bring down two UK barristers to represent the state, two special lawyers concerning the Dominic Hadid and his wife matter. State hires UK barristers in Hadid case. Two UK barristers were admitted to practice law in Trinidad and Tobago to represent the state in the proceedings involving businessman Dominic Hadid and his wife Genevieve as the couple continues challenging their detention under the ongoing state of emergency. The thing hot. We might surely need a lot of tea for this one. And so it's steamy. We might need a lot of blue waters.
Caribbean cousin, Mr. and Mrs. Hadid will remain in custody after the judge rejected their petition for a temporary injunction on the habeas corpus, where they tried to challenge the detention order under the state of emergency. They remain in custody. Allegedly, the judge ruled, despite the irregularity surrounding the state of emergency, the order signed by the Minister of National Security, Mr. Roger Alexander, was lawful, allegedly. But Mr. and Mrs. Hadid could challenge such order once they appear again in court on July 27. So they didn't get no bail. This is a real soap opera. I'm just saying, it's a real soap opera. Remember, Genevieve Ant still is in custody. According to intelligence agency, allegedly, I say America, allegedly, these three O's, 1, 2, and the Ant, were attempting, allegedly, to assassinate and dismantle Trinidad and Tobago, allegedly. This is a real soap opera. A real soap opera. These are some of the charges, allegedly. Mr. Hadid, after the government ruled to extend the state of emergency, Mr. Hadid decided to spew out violence and had plots that he wants to overthrow the government. Mrs. Hadid had violent thoughts that people should allegedly unalive Madame Boss Lady, allegedly. And the Hunt was spewing and encouraging discussion of violence. And she knows people that can carry out such order. This is a real soap opera, a real movie, a real soap opera that's happening in real life. What? Boy. But anyways, I like it.
The government says they're going after the big fish. Take a look at this video, guys. It's not a political thing. It's not a political thing. I don't know why people think it. And I am somewhat embarrassed by that.
Absolutely no one out of 1.4 million people in our country would probably think that this is a political thing. It's not like we have ministers in parliament that were elected that have allegations of corruption against them that are not being investigated, right?
The government has retained the services of 2 UK lawyers. First of all, if the evidence were so solid, why would we need international assistance? In fact, if the evidence were so solid, why would we need executive powers? Why would we need to use a PDO? Why can't we just use the regular criminal justice system? Imagine having, foolproof evidence, intelligence, and we cannot use the regular system. What does that say for us? Are we going to depend on a state of emergency and executive powers for eternity? Because even in a case where we have strong intelligence and foolproof evidence, we need to go through the state of emergency powers. Anyways, I want to discuss the cost. I want to go back to the fact that the government has retained 2 lawyers from the UK. Sir James is a King's Counsel, so that is like senior counsel in Trinidad and Tobago. Not only is he a King's Counsel, he is the head of the Senior Treasury Council. According to UK reports, the members of that council, their fee is something like £220 per hour. That is $2,700 per hour. He is the head of that council. So chances are he's earning anywhere upwards to $3,000, maybe $4,000 an hour. That is going to cost the country hundreds of thousands of dollars just on him. And they have retained 2 UK barristers. That does not include local lawyers. We've not seen the entire list of the local lawyers. That doesn't include, are they doing Zoom? Are we paying for their hotels? Are we paying for their meals, paying for their plane tickets, their airfare, accommodation, everything? Just pursuing this Hadid matter will cost this country hundreds of thousands of dollars. And guess what? Remember, the Hadids have, as with all of us, the constitutional right to be innocent until proven guilty. It is why David Lee is not behind bars. It is why, in fact, Kamla Persad-Bissessar continues to have him in the cabinet, because he has the luxury of innocence until proven guilty. So he has the luxury of his bed, of his air condition, of his clean house. The conditions of persons in remand yard, that means persons who have not had a day in court. They have not been found guilty. They are still constitutionally innocent in the eyes of the law. The Hadids have already complained that they have no beds, cockroaches, and anybody who's visited or paid attention or read anything. The condition of our prison is below inhumane. There are fleas, pigeons, poop. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. So we're not even talking about after the Hadids sue the state for keeping them in such a condition before they were proven guilty. We're not discussing, okay, if you're guilty, we could discuss whether or not you deserve to be treated like a human. This is someone who's innocent until proven guilty. This is the condition. So we're not discussing the millions and millions and millions of dollars that they're going to sue for being held in that condition. Going back to, at a time when the government has just asked for $2.8 billion in supplemental, for their supplemental budget, their allocations to pay salaries, at a time when economists are warning about $19 billion in borrowing. We are borrowing to pay salaries. Do you think, Trinidad and Tobago, that this is the best use of our funds? These are your tax-paying dollars, and when they borrow it, it's your children and grandchildren's tax-paying dollars that are going to be paying for these things. to bring 2 UK barristers to Trinidad to fight a case that apparently we have intelligence. We are keeping the country safe. Your rights and your freedoms are absolute trade-offs because we need to keep, well, really and truly, the Prime Minister safe. Because the assassination attempt is not on us. The crime that they're talking about is not about when we go for Subway or we go for coffee or whatever and some stray bullet hit we. It's not for that. It's not for the mothers and the pensioners that are getting robbed and raped and brutally murdered. It's not for the home invasions. The hundreds and thousands of dollars that are being spent is to protect senior government officials from an alleged assassination. Not for us. It don't matter if our lives are under threat. We're not worth that hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are 400 plus detainees right now under preventive detention orders. 400 plus orders were issued just this year alone. Trinidad and Tobago, I know I will be a hypocrite to say speak out, because I can't tell you the last time I did a video, maybe about a month ago. Because the truth is, life happens, and I understand that life happens. But let's do your introspection. Are you speaking? Are you not speaking up because you're busy? Are you not speaking up because you just don't care anymore? You've thrown your hands up in the air? Are you not speaking up because you think that it's safer not to? We need to speak up. We need to demand accountability. Speak up in whichever way it matters to you. Whether it be typing, whether it be videos, whether it be letters to your MP, letters to the president, letters to the prime minister. We need to speak up. Are you comfortable with one human being writing, just signing a PDO, and you in jail? The state of emergency does not end until September. Can you imagine? I want you to close your eyes and imagine being placed in Tetron barracks, in jail, in our nasty jail, from July to September, when you have a constitutional right of innocence until proven guilty. And this can happen with the stroke of one man's pen. There is nothing in law that says Roger Alexander needs to speak to meet with, to caucus with, to get advice from anyone. He can say, intelligence suggests, and sign you away. Is that what we want for our country? That is why today, regardless of how many sleepless nights I've had with a newborn, I had to come in front of a camera and speak up. It is dangerous times, and the government is willing to spend hundreds and millions of dollars for this, what I consider a charade at this point. Speak up, Trinidad.
The state has hired one of Britain's most powerful lawyers, Sir James Addy, to fight the Hadid assassination plot case. However, his expertise comes with a staggering cost of £270 per hour. The state also brought in a second UK lawyer, Robert Strang, plus a local team. Listen, I hear people quarreling about the cost the state. Listen, I hear people quarreling about the cost the state is going to pay these lawyers. But since I small, I hear about this big fish. To catch a big fish, you need big money, because the big fish have big money. I implore everyone to let this situation play out in court. Don't think the state is going to bring out the best of the best to play games. This situation right here should not be about politics. It shouldn't be about PNM or UNC, yellow or red. This should be about Trinidad and Tobago and making sure whoever is the big fish, they get fried. Y'all go let me know what y'all think about this story.
According to publicly available information, in late June 2026, police searched the West Moorings home of businessman Dominic Hadid and his wife Genevieve. They also searched the Blue Waters premises in Trinity, seized devices and lawfully held firearms, and detained the couple in connection with the conspiracy to murder investigation. The next day, Genevieve's 69-year-old aunt, Star Sabga, was also detained. All three were first held in police cells. Then something shifted. It is reported that each was served with a preventative detention order, signed by the Minister of Homeland Security under the Emergency Powers Regulations, alleging a plot to assassinate senior officials. They were moved to prison at Golden Grove. Their attorneys filed for habeas corpus. Justice Sipasad declined to release them at once, holding the detention lawful on its face once the orders were signed, but he ordered the police to clarify its basis and allowed the defense to inspect the station diaries. Still, no one has been charged. These remain untested allegations, and every person is presumed innocent. Now a hypothetical analysis taking no side. A criminal charge looks backward. It accuses you of something already done and must be proved to a high standard before a judge. A preventative detention order looks forward. It is not a charge, but a minister's opinion, formed on intelligence, that a person must be held to prevent a feared future act. A state of emergency does not switch off the Constitution. It permits a lawful temporary bending of some rights, but the right to counsel remains. The courts stay open, and tribunals review detention. Power on a leash, not unleashed. So how might such action be challenged? On 3 lines. First, reviewability. When a minister says he is satisfied a person is dangerous, may a judge look behind that word? An old English case, Liversidge said, accepted. But Lord Atkin's famous dissent warned that judges must never be more executive-minded than the executive. A later Singapore case, Chung Swanse, drawing on Commonwealth authority, held that all power has legal limits, and that courts may test how discretion is used, even in national security. Second, proportionality. The Belmarsh case in Britain's highest court demanded that detention without trial be strictly required, with no lesser measure sufficient, and placed that burden on the state. Third, purpose and process. If the trio were arrested first under ordinary warrants and only later served with emergency orders, a court may ask whether emergency power was reached, for simply because there was not enough evidence to charge. That is why the station diaries matter, and why an ouster clause cannot shield a detention, unlawful at its root. An ouster clause is a provision in legislation that attempts to exclude or limit the power of courts to review decisions made by public bodies. And because our final appeal lies with the Privy Council in London, these questions could travel far. Now the other side, fairly stated. The state has a genuine duty to protect life. If credible intelligence suggests officials are targeted, it cannot wait for a tragedy. Courts know they are not security assessors and are properly cautious about second-guessing secret intelligence. The law itself created this power for exactly such moments. Once the minister forms the required satisfaction and follows the correct steps, the detention is lawful on its face, as the court here found. And the safeguards, the tribunals, parliamentary oversight, and the right to stand before a judge are the very checks that make the power constitutional rather than arbitrary. On this view, the system is not failing. It is working as designed. So weigh it honestly. On one side, the duty to protect. On the other, the ancient rule that no one is jailed on suspicion alone, without a court testing it. The law does not pick one and discard the other. It holds them in tension through disclosure, review, and the courts. And this matters to every citizen, not just the wealthy, because the strength of these safeguards is the strength of everyone's protection. A final word. This is offered for education and public understanding only. It is not legal advice. It takes no side, and it prejudges nothing. The matter is live, and the courts must run their course. A constitution is tested not in calm, but in whether under real pressure it can protect its people without dismantling the freedoms that make it worth protecting.
Here's what's happening. Marsha Lauren Walker critiques the Trinidad and Tobago government for prioritizing costly UK lawyers over pressing local issues. In a pointed commentary, Marsha Lauren Walker has brought to light the Trinidad and Tobago government's recent decision to engage 2 barristers from the UK at a time when the country is grappling with a financial crisis. This move has sparked concerns as the government has just requested $2.8 billion in supplemental budgets to cover salaries, while the national debt looms large at $19 billion. This one has people talking. Share your view in the comments.
Here is a quick news update for TNT. The Hadid detention case is moving into a new phase. Attorneys for Dominic and Genevieve Hadid are now seeking an urgent hearing before the State of Emergency Tribunal, while also preparing a constitutional claim in the High Court. This comes after Justice Frank Sipasad refused their application to be released while they challenged preventive detention orders issued under the ongoing state of emergency. The couple was detained after police searches connected to alleged threats against government officials and MPs. Those allegations remain part of an ongoing legal process.
What's up, beautiful people of TNT. So guys, I truly appreciate the fact that you always come back to support this amazing channel. Anyway, in today's video, we are going to continue what we did in our latest video. And that was all about Dominic Hadid and the wife. You see, these people had come out to say that, you know, they are among the most powerful families in TNT. So, first of all, welcome back, guys. So, as you can see, it's another major story that is coming out recently. And according to the latest update, you know, the government has hired 2 lawyers from United Kingdom. Anyway, this story has captured national attention. The people of TNT are talking, they're speaking out loudly and clearly. Because you see, this story has sparked a debate across everywhere, not just in these online platforms, but also in our TV stations, and also in the markets, in the churches. I mean, everywhere people are talking. I know even in your home, you are talking about it. So let's talk about the businessman, Dominic Hadid, the wife, and their arrest. So there is another twist that has come out, you know, and that is that the government, that is the UNC government led by Kamala Prasad, the government has reportedly hired 2 lawyers from the United Kingdom to represent the state in this legal matter. I mean, that has sparked an outrage because the people of TNT are asking, is it right for other people, for foreigners to come into their land and practice law in their own soil? Is it correct? Yet they have qualified lawyers in TNT. So that decision by the government, it has opened another debate, leave alone the one for yesterday where the people of TNT were coming out and saying that, you see, this thing is politics, you know, because some few weeks ago, I know you watched these particular clips, Dominic Hadid, they were in probably in a meeting enjoying themselves or just enjoying themselves, right? I will put it like that. And then they somehow criticized the government. And yesterday, you know, whatever happened, or probably according to the time that you got the news. So the decision itself by the government, it has made the people of TNT to speak. And of course, it's not like everyone is talking about that arrest, no. Many people, in fact, they are talking about the cost. Because you see, they are simply asking one question, like, who is going to pay these lawyers? Will it come from our taxes? You know, that's the answer that the good people, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago want. Is it the taxpayers that are going to incur that cost? So that has triggered a very strong reaction. And I know if you put yourself, I mean, you who is watching, into the shoe of a person in TNT, I mean, somebody who understands themselves, you know, I know you'll be asking so many questions, so many in fact, like, for instance, me, I'm trying to really sit down and figure out this thing. Is it possible that a foreign lawyer can simply come into, probably in this case, Trinidad and Tobago, in practice law? Or is it that there are special rules and we didn't know about it? So today I want us to talk about both sides of the story, because remember, each and every day that we come out here and do a video, we have to put ourselves into the shoe of somebody who probably is supporting. We have to put ourselves into the shoe of someone who is neutral and also a critique, so that at least we may be balanced in our commentary. So let's talk about the facts, because you see, that's what we want to examine, what the ordinary TRINIS have been saying. And that, I mean, what they're saying from the bottom of their heart. Guys, I've attached the clips. Yeah, I hope you really watch like all of them. And the courts, of course, in Trinidad and Tobago will have to decide this particular legal issue, because you see, everyone is involved and everyone deserves, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And I know, anything that involves a court process, of course, they have to follow due process, and that is what probably the government of TNT is telling us. So, as you all know, Dominic Hadid is one of the biggest and the most famous, or the most popular, or the best known businessman in Trinidad and Tobago, the beautiful twin island in the Caribbean. So his name, of course, Hadid's name, has long been associated with the business community. So when this news broke out about, of course, his arrest and that of his wife, that they were planning to assassinate the prime minister, many Trinidadians were shocked about the news, and there were demands for accountability. And many people urged the country not to rush to judgment. They should first of all look at the facts, the evidence, because that's all that matters. So of course, these particular opinions, they're still there to date, from when the news broke out, and we know the legal process is continuing. It's in fact a developing story. Anyway, let's take a look at this particular situation whereby the government has retained, or rather, they are considering having these two experienced lawyers from the United Kingdom to represent them in these particular proceedings. Because you see, this particular story immediately became headlines. Everybody is talking about it. Of course, Trinidadians, nobody else, For us, we just come in to put our minds in there and try to figure out and do a commentary, So, and of course, your comments do matter, like, so much. And I truly appreciate that you always come back, So, you see, this particular headline, it has sparked an outrage, of course. Trainees are not happy. You see, because probably, you see, someone like Dominic Hadid with a company is employing like so many trainees. So, of course, they're actually contributing to the economy. They are also offering job opportunities to Trinidadians. But because many people in Trinidad and Tobago, at this point, they're just like wondering, like, how much is this legal representation going to cost when it comes to the government? Having these people representing them, because you see, this particular situation is coming in at a time whereby many Trinidadians are struggling so much with the high cost of living, and of course there are so many questions about how the government is spending so much, So of course people will naturally ask. It's not like they're going to be forced. Like, probably you'll find them asking themselves some of the questions like, will this money have been spent elsewhere? Is it that the local lawyers have handled this matter already, or what? To the point that they are actually like giving out to other people? Because you see, the local lawyers are the people that understand like most of these things to do with the laws of their land. So there are so many questions that Trinidadians are asking, and others are like, they really want to know, is it that Trinidad and Tobago does not have enough attorneys or probably lawyers. So as you can see, there are so many unanswered questions, and that is what trainees want. They want accountability, transparency, and of course, so many questions, and they deserve to be answered, by the way. So some of these people in Trinidad and Tobago, I will say, believe that, you see, these foreign lawyers cannot practice law in TNT. I don't know if you agree with that. That is, if you put yourself into the shoe probably of a somebody that doesn't agree with this particular situation. And according to reports, under Trinidad and Tobago's legal system, you see, overseas or lawyers from abroad can, in certain circumstances, receive temporary permission from the court to appear in a specific case. So as you can see, the law of Trinidad and Tobago allows, but temporarily. So anyway, I don't know what you call that, but it's not the same as becoming like permanently licensed to do, legal issues in Trinidad and Tobago. So in this case, the court has granted permission for a particular matter, for a particular case. And okay, that has been there, by the way. It's not like it's something new. So the real issue that we should be talking about now is not simply whether foreign lawyers are allowed. It's all about whether bringing them in is really necessary. Because remember, at the end of the day, we do have, Trinidad and Tobago as their own lawyers in place, those that have studied, they have practiced, they have the experience. And again, if you put yourself into the shoe of someone that supports this particular issue that is being done by the government, for them, they'll say that at the end of the day, the government has a duty to present, the strongest legal team possible. It doesn't matter where they come from, whether it's within or abroad. And especially in cases that involve constitutional questions, or rather issues that may have a significant legal consequences. Anyway, that argument, in itself, as you can see, they are arguing that if international legal expertise strengthens the state's case, then be it. Then the government has all the rights to seek that expertise. But again, many people disagree on this because they believe that Trinidad and Tobago has many outstanding lawyers, and of course they also have many respected senior lawyers or counsel. Anyway, my good people, we all know that many lawyers with decades of courtroom and these cases, we have so many of them, these experiences. Now, you see, people are asking, why is it that local expertise, why is it that the government is feeling like this local expertise is not enough? So you see, this particular discussion will kind of like continue being talked about like every day. I mean, I am sure even tomorrow, there'll be something coming up about this issue. And yeah, people will be talking everywhere. So the concern, of course, is understandable because you see, the government is actually spending, and that spending has to probably, okay, in each and every government, we'll have those that will be following up on these issues. They want to know that transparency, accountability. Will always have those kind of people, and that is especially when public money is involved. You see, people, some will want accountability, transparency, value for money, and that is understandable. You see, So another interesting issue is perception, and we've always talked about this thing. Perception does matter so much in politics, and even if, I mean, in this case, even if hiring of lawyers from abroad is kinda, lawful, people will still ask, like, what are you telling us? Are you telling us that local lawyers are not capable? I mean, does it reflect the seriousness? Okay, so many questions anyway. But of course, we respect everybody's opinion, and yeah, we are all. I mean, we're just glad that things are happening, so that we may get to understand. Now, I want us to talk about something else, now that you've already looked at the background of the case, and for someone that had not watched our clip yesterday, will be able to understand by now. So I want us now to talk about, the issue that has generated the biggest public reaction in this case, and that is now the two lawyers hired by the government. And you see, that really sparked an outrage in this case, and people are talking everywhere. So this legal fee, many people believe that it's going to be paid by them, of course, the taxpayers. And many Trinidadians are actually debating about this issue now. And remember, I talked earlier about cost of living. People, many families are unable to afford, house rent. They're not able to afford food now in TNT. I mean, these basic needs, and then the government is coming in to, facilitate these particular lawyers at a very high cost. I think somebody said $270 per hour. I mean, depending on how long that case will take, that's too much, you see. Anyway, my good people, I don't know what you think about that. I really appreciate if you comment down below your opinion on this particular case. So now that we already, know what's really happening, I really want to know, like, what is it that okay, like, I want to ask a question for you who is watching. What does this controversy mean for TNT? What do you think about this? Because as you can see, the story is not just about this particular business person, and it's not about that case only. This particular issue has become a conversation about the government. Not even, as you can see, it's not even about the court case or the business person or the businessman. People are actually talking about justice. They're talking about public confidence, and you see, public confidence matters so much, and it doesn't matter where it should be applied. Public confidence with the police, public confidence or trust with institutions, it does matter a lot. When the public confidence is like down, then every story that comes up creates so many doubts and questions, and that's what is exactly happening with this particular case. It's because there is low public confidence, low public trust, and now people are questioning, they are talking. Otherwise, if the people trusted what the government is doing, then they wouldn't be talking like too much. So it's also about accountability, so many other things. And of course, we expect people to continue speaking. Anyway, as much as some people believe that the government has made the right decision, some will still say that if the government is involved in an important legal challenge, then they believe that they should actually use, the best of the best of the best. It doesn't matter where it comes from. So anyway, guys, Thank you so much if you watched the clip up to this particular point. I'll see you in the next video, you know.